Ever wondered how it feels to breathe underwater? Scuba diving isn't just a sport, it's a gateway to an alien world right here on Earth. But the best part, it's way more accessible than you might think. Let me show you how diving can transform your life in ways you've never expected and what it's really like. Before we can just dive in and take that plunge, we first have to familiarize ourselves with an important and necessary piece of equipment that you'll need to spend time down under the water. That is your underwater life support system, the scuba gear. You wear it attached to your body because your body is actually more capable than you think and durable of handling pressure changes without the need of an external shell. When I first started diving, I remember feeling like I was suiting up for a space mission. There were so many pieces of equipment, each with its own crucial function. It was intimidating to say the least, but as I learned about each component, I realized how ingeniously designed they all were to keep us safe and comfortable in an environment we're not naturally equipped to inhabit. Let me show you the essentials. First up is our BCD, or buoyancy control device. This vest-like contraption is your best friend underwater. It allows you to control your depth underwater, helping you ascend and descend and even hover like Peter Pan. It is essentially an air balloon, or what traditionally was called an aqua lung, and filling it with enough air will offset you from sinking, then allowing you to control more micro depth changes with your lungs alone by breathing in and out. Next, we have the regulator, and that will attach straight on your air tank. This is what delivers air from your tank to your lungs. It might look complex, but it's actually quite simple in function. The main regulator's first stage attaches to the tank and reduces the high pressure air to intermediate air, and the second stage is where the mouthpiece is and changes it into a breathable air as you suck through it. The regulator and BCD will attach to the most necessary piece of your underwater kit, a pressurized air cylinder that will hold the air you breathe, essentially acting as your fuel source. You will have an air gauge attached to that you'll want to be aware of at all times. We'll get into that more shortly, but an important thing to keep in mind in scuba diving is that you cannot just end a dive and pop to the top. You need to always plan your dive with sufficient air. You'll need to make stage stops on your way back to the surface. There's also a spare second stage, often called an octopus, for emergencies or to share air with a buddy if needed. The dive mask is your window to the underwater world. It covers your eyes and nose, creating an airspace that allows you to see clearly and equalize pressure in your sinuses. To stay warm, we generally wear wetsuits. These come in various thicknesses depending on the water temperature. They function by basically slowing the water movement next to your skin and allowing your body to warm that water near it. And this keeps you a little bit warmer than if you had no wetsuit at all. For even colder diving, you have to wear a dry suit, which is more like an astronaut suit and encloses your body in an air bubble so that you stay dry. Fins are essential for efficient moving underwater, as they are much bigger and disperse more water than your feet could ever. Next, we have a dive computer, your underwater lifeline. It tracks your depth, dive time, and calculates your decompression status. This little device helps aid you in prevention of that decompression sickness, which is a serious condition that can occur if you ascend too quickly, and has traditionally been called the bends. The dive computer is surprisingly not a required piece of the scuba diving toolset, as you can calculate all these by yourself with tables and lots of math. But most divers like to keep things simple and don't want to explode their brains with all the math, so they use a dive computer. Other common equipment needs are a compass to help navigate to and back to your dive sites, a dive knife, which is not for stabbing or anything like that, but for cutting yourself or others out in case they get caught in some kind of line, like a fishing line. A DSMB, which is a delayed surface marker buoy, which allows you to shoot a signal up while you're diving to notify people on the surface of your presence and position. On a very innocent and short dive, I once forgot to deploy my DSMB on a lake dive. While coming back to the shore, I startled all these kids jumping in from a local dock. So I now regularly deploy my DSMB just when finishing my dive. Make sure I notify, little kids jumping off docks, but more importantly, boat traffic, and if there's someone tracking me, I need to communicate to the boat where I'm at so they can come pick me up. Lastly, we have weights. These counteract the buoyancy of your suit and BCD. Your suit usually adds a lot of positive buoyancy, so you need weight to bring you down from the surface. This allows you to descend, and then you can use your buoyancy control device to add a little bit of air and hit neutral buoyancy from there. Finding the right amount of weight is a bit of an art. Too much and you'll struggle, too little and you'll bob at the surface like a cork. But with practice, all divers grow accustomed and eventually master it. These are the standard gear needed for recreational diving, which is considered diving above a depth of 40 meters or 130 feet, and without going inside anything like a cave or a wreck. Going deeper into things requires much more technical consideration and gear and redundancies to ensure you can safely do it. Now that we understand our gear, it's time for the real test. Ever wondered what this alien world under the water was all about? It's not just about what you see, it's about how you feel. And you're about to experience it firsthand. The moment you step off the boat or beach and into the water, you're about to enter a world where the rules of gravity seem to bend and your senses are in for a complete overhaul. As you descend, the first thing you'll notice is the pressure. It's not uncomfortable, but it's definitely noticeable. Your ears might feel a bit stuffy, like you're on an airplane. This is where those equalization techniques come into play. A gentle pinch of your nose and a soft blow can relieve that pressure. It also works on an airplane. It took me a few dives to get the hang of it, but now it's second nature. Don't force it. The key is to equalize at the surface and frequently on the way down. If it continues to hurt, go back up a little bit, and then once you can equalize, descend slowly and equalize frequently on the way down. Breathing underwater, in short, is a strange sensation to say the least. Your brain is telling you that you shouldn't be able to breathe, but here you are, inhaling deeply. The sound of your own breath, amplified by the underwater silence, becomes your constant companion. It's called the silent world for a reason. It's oddly calming and almost meditative. When you breathe in, you consume the air in your tank and primarily for oxygen. While you breathe out, you exhale mostly excess carbon dioxide from your body. As you continue your descent, you might feel a bit off balance. That's normal. The weightlessness can be disorienting at first. I remember feeling like I was constantly tipping forward and backward. But as you relax and let the water support you, you'll eventually start to feel like you're flying. And I'm going to describe it again. You'll feel like Peter Pan. Maybe not in the first number of dives. The first number of dives you might feel like more like a whale that's struggling to get off of a beach. But eventually, you'll start feeling that weightless hovering capability, that beautiful feeling of neutral buoyancy with practice. And then the Peter Pan effect will take effect. It's an incredible feeling of freedom, but it requires you to be able to control your buoyancy well by adding some air to your BC and refining that buoyancy with just your lungs. The underwater world is eerily quiet, save for the sound of breathing and an occasional crackle of a fish nibbling on the coral. The silence enhances the feeling of being in an alien world. It's peaceful, yet slightly unnerving at first. You might find yourself holding your breath without realizing it, a common mistake for new divers, but remember to keep breathing steadily. This is because the air you breathe in from your tank can expand in your lungs while you ascend, which, much like a balloon, if you continue to fill a balloon, it's eventually going to pop, and you don't want that to happen to your lungs. To equalize your lungs, all you have to do is keep on breathing. So just keep on breathing, make a habit out of it. Buoyancy control is another challenge you'll face. Too much air in your BCD and you'll float to the top like a balloon, and too little, you'll sink like a stone. Finding that sweet spot takes a little bit of time, but that's the neutral buoyancy that you're going to practice for. Don't get discouraged if you can't get it at first. It takes a lot of practice, and even experienced divers struggle with this. As you get more comfortable, you'll start to notice the incredible life around you. The colors are more vivid than you could have imagined, and the variety of marine life is astounding. It's at this point that many divers, including myself, feel a profound connection with nature. You're not just observing this underwater world, you're a part of it. For me, this was the moment when diving went from being an interesting activity to a lifelong passion. There's something about being surrounded by the vastness of the ocean, yet feeling intimately connected to every small creature you encounter that's hard to put in words. And take it from me, adventure enthusiast that has traveled this world on land and sea, and I'm the most impressed by the wildlife that you can see under the water versus on the land. One important tip for starting out is to always go slow, relax. Take the time to enjoy things around you, and spend a good 5 minutes staring at the wonders of a single coral. There's so much to see, and you'll enjoy more of it if you move slowly and try to experience things in the simplest of forms. If you're feeling a mix of excitement and apprehension, that's perfectly normal. Diving challenges us both physically and mentally. It pushes us out of our comfort zones and rewards us with experiences that are truly unique. The key is to stay calm, focus on your breathing, and trust your training. As you grow more comfortable in the water, a new challenge emerges, especially when you start diving deeper. How do you stay safe in an environment where humans weren't meant to survive? The answer lies in mastering a set of crucial skills that can mean the difference between life and death. First, let's start by briefly stating that to be a scuba diver, it's important to first get certified to scuba dive. Just like being licensed to drive a car, you need a certificate to scuba dive. This certification process is generally called open water certification and is the entry point for all scuba divers, regardless of the agency that you choose to be certified through. Open water certification isn't just about learning to breathe underwater, it's about transforming yourself into a capable, confident diver who can handle whatever the underwater world will throw at you. One of the most critical skills you'll learn is managing decompression sickness. This condition occurs when nitrogen bubbles form in your bloodstream as you ascend too quickly. Another phenomenon you'll encounter is nitrogen narcosis. As you descend deeper, especially quickly, typically around 30 meters or more, you might start feeling a bit, well, drunk. Your judgment can become impaired, and the simplest of tasks will suddenly feel very challenging. You might just find yourself laughing uncontrollably at a sea cucumber during a deep dive. It's crucial to recognize these effects and know how to manage them. Equipment failure is another scenario to be prepared for. Imagine you're down at 20 meters or 66 feet of depth, and suddenly your air cuts out. That sounds terrifying, right? But with proper training and many redundancies, it's a manageable situation. All part of the diving experience. You'll learn to use alternate air sources and perform emergency ascents with your dive buddy or team. Speaking of the dive buddy, one of the most important aspects of diving safely is the buddy system. You will always dive with at least one partner, watching out for each other and providing support if needed. Effective underwater communication is key here. You'll learn a whole new language of hand signals and gestures. It's amazing how much you can convey without words once you master these hand techniques. Often, you might dive with a team in which an experienced diver with a high degree of experience called a dive master will generally be the leader of it. It's important to think of this team as one unit, and when you go down with everyone around you, you will all be there to protect each other, to keep each other safe, and also point out cool wildlife that you'll see. So when someone finds something cool, they bring all their buddies over to see the amazing sight. Dive planning is another crucial skill. Before you even get to the water, you'll learn to assess conditions, review safety protocols, and plan your dive with your team. This preparation significantly reduces the risks and ensures you're ready for whatever you might encounter. As you master these skills from your open water certification, you'll find that diving transforms from a perceived dangerous activity into a controlled adventure. Don't get me wrong, there's still an element of excitement and the unknown, but you'll have the tools and knowledge to handle it safely. It's worth noting this is just the beginning, and there are many courses for you to take after your open water certification that will build and open up new things for you to explore. I am not an advocate for wasting money, ever, but think of these as specializations, and they're very worth your time if you're enjoying diving and want more advanced training. And given the inherent risk of scuba diving, you'll want to make sure to pursue more advanced courses and specialized training to make sure you can properly mitigate more risky dives. When you get certified, you'll always be certified to a certain level and certified for certain things that you can dive in safely. And that's where your skill and training has prepared you for. And it's important to take note of these and not exceed those, because that's one danger a lot of beginner divers experience. But by pursuing further courses and that specialization, you will be more prepared to handle those, and your certification level will cover deeper dives and more specialties as you take the courses and show your proficiency. And more importantly, you're better prepared to mitigate those risks. Ultimately, with the right training, scuba diving is considerably safer than many popular activities. This might come as a surprise to many, but it is a testament to the effectiveness of proper education and preparation to mitigating these risks. Remember, every skill you learn, every protocol you follow, is designed to keep you safe while you explore the wonders of the underwater world. So, is becoming a scuba diver worth it? Once you get certified and make the leap, then as you continue to practice and start to feel yourself embrace the weightless hovering and the ability to really fly, you'll open doors to the underwater world to explore, from expansive coral reefs to giant pinnacles that stretch as far as the eye can see, and sea life that is genuinely more interesting than any life I've ever seen on land. You won't get bored, not to mention you can pursue more advanced forms of diving like deeper technical diving, wreck diving, and even cave diving. The adventures are endless, and the stories to be told over a beer with your dive buddies will be unforgettable. If you're excited to learn more about scuba diving, check out this playlist here that I made to help beginners boost their confidence, skills, and comfort in the water after their certification. And until next time.